This is a quick video of the hike up to the Mushroom Cap through the Puu Waa Waa Forest Reserve, about 30 minutes from the Kona airport.
So here's where you're going to pull in for the Puu Waa Waa hike. You're going to come up here and you will see a gate, but the gate will open. As you pull up to it, it is automatic and just lets you in. So you don't have to worry about that, as you can see. And when you come through, you're gonna go off to the left. Don't go straight. Go to the left up here. This is where the hike begins. There's a little sign there. And you'll head up this way. There's a little shack you can park out on the left, but if you want to save the extra walking, most everybody parks up here at this other place. So I'll show you where it's at here. Just like everything on the Big Island, the road's a little rough. This is where you're not going to get to go any further. You'll just park in here off on the right. And that's it. So here's the beginning. You're just going to come up here and step over the chain, and the hike just goes straight up this road. And I will give you the basics, but that sign's probably pretty accurate as to where you're going. And that's pretty much a good map of how you're going to hike to get up there. So I'll give you some other stuff as we go along as to how strenuous it is to get up here. All right, so here's some of the wildlife you'll find out here. You might see a cow or two in the trees hiding from you. This hike does start about 2,200 feet above sea level, so I'll kind of let you know where you get to at certain points here as well. But bring sunscreen because it's sunny and there's not a lot of shade. As you get up here a little bit, you'll see this sign. It says the Ohia Trail. Don't go that way. That's really rough and rocky, so it's a little bit of a challenge and it takes you even further, but not really my advisement if you're trying to get to the top of the mushroom up there. Just stay on this road.
Hello.
And you will also see sheep up here as well, just for fun. This is a working ranch, so they have sheep and cows. Goodbye. So here we are at about a half a mile. And the altitude gain's about 220 feet over half a mile, so not too strenuous, certainly doable. So, but I'll keep you updated as we go along. All right, so here's a little better view of where you're gonna end up. And this is at 1 mile, so about 460 feet of elevation gain. And took about 22 minutes to get here, so just to give you an idea of the stress level. And it'll raise your heart rate a little bit, that's for sure, to get up here, but it's not too strenuous. Anyway, here we go. So here we are kind of at the top where some of these trails merge in the first section. And this is kind of your view up here. And hopefully we'll be able to find the direction to go to get up to the top of that hill there. So we're gonna stay here off to the left and take this trail around and kind of give you some more updates as we go to get up to the top up there. And this is at 1.5 miles. We're gone up about 650 feet and got a little bit further to go to get up there. So here's a panorama of once you get out of the trees and kind of the view up here. And as you keep going up, all right, so this is a lovely little rest point at about 1.95 miles in. To give you a good idea of the view up here, kind of off to the north of the Big Island. You can even get a view of the top of Haleakala on Maui from up here without too much trouble. So, and that's where we're still headed. Still going up that direction through that gate and up the hill there. Here's a little bit more at about 1,100 feet up in the air, what the view is like. All right, so here we are at 2.5 miles. It looks like you can see the top of the mountains on the back side here, which looks like it's Hualalai Peak. And all the way back down where we came from. And that's where we're trying to get to. You will get to this point, probably go off to the right as you go to the left. You'll end up with a longer hike that's more level but super steep. This is a little less steep as a general average going this route. So here we are at the 3 mile mark. And this is what we just hiked up to get here. And we are at 1,550 feet above sea level at this point, so it gets to be a pretty severe climb at this point going up from 2.5 to 3 miles. So here's what it looks like coming to the top up here. You will get this little sign. You'll certainly get a view up here. And a lovely bench to rest. So, my watch shows 3.26 miles and 1,750 feet of elevation gain. Fairly close to what that sign says, so they're in general agreement. So, come on up, enjoy the view. It is pretty spectacular up here. So here's the top, and I'll give you a little tour. That right there is Waikoloa Beach Resorts, and heading up the west coast of the Big Island towards the north end of the island. If you come out over here, kind of at the base of this mountain here, you can see some houses and buildings. That's the town of Waimea. You head a little over here, that is the top of Mauna Kea, where the telescopes are. As you keep going around, there's Mauna Loa and the clouds up there. Might even be able to see a little snow from time to time up there. And then over here is Hualalai updates. And here we are going the back way, the same way down that we came up. We will, I'll get you some views as we go, and give you some updates on the way back. But more for views on the way down. It should be a lot easier getting down than it was getting up, that's for sure. I'll give you a little filming as we go down here. This is probably one of the steeper parts going down, but it's grassy. It's generally well prepared trail. Even vehicles can get up this, so it's not too terrible to make it up and down these. But it is quite the view from up here. And this is actually on the back side of the mushroom, looking north at this point. And here's where it gets even a little bit more steep to get down this part. So you get going down. It's about the steepest part of this for the longest stretch that you'll run into. But it's a pretty good downhill slope on this. And if you need to, there are benches all along this trail. If you need to kind of sit and rest, take a little load off for a minute. So they have them built in every so often. As you come down to this part of the trail, you'll be back to where you can see this sign that says you can go either way. Don't go straight. You'll go back around the mountain. Coming back down, head left and go this direction. And here we are at about 4 miles on the way back down. Just walking on out. We've dropped about 450 or so feet from the top, and we've only walked about 3/4 of a mile back from the top, but the overall distance covered so far is about 4 miles. So, give you an idea and some reference. And here we are at 4.5 miles, making our way back down. This gate you can go through. We went through it on the way up. Just go through this gate on the way back down. There's a little pedestrian gate off to the kind of the left side over here. Right hand side when you're coming up the hill, but yep, just going through and keep on going. And at this point, we've probably come down about 800 feet from the top. In probably about 1.25 miles, we've dropped 800 feet of the overall close to 1,800 feet. We've only got about 1,000 feet to go to get back down to where you parked. And right here on this bench, again, it's basically about the best ocean view you're going to get from up here. It is a very, very panoramic ocean view all the way to Haleakala on Maui. And here is the trail going back down. So we keep going here. And here we are back down at the 5 mile mark. Still heading downhill on the trail. And we've gone down to about 2,850 feet. So we've dropped a little over 1,100 feet from the top in the last 1.75 miles or so. Just to give you an idea, much easier on the way down. The only thing you got to be worried about on the way down is don't slip and fall on some of this stuff. That's about it. And here we are at 5.5 miles. Just hiking back down the trail. Road trail. It's basically a small road. We are at 2,650 feet above sea level. We've got probably 1 mile to go. And we're about maybe 400 feet above where we started. So much easier coming down, much quicker going down, that's for sure. Took about 1 hour and 35 minutes to get to the top. And it's probably only going to take us about 1 hour and maybe 20 minutes to get down at the most. Just to give you an idea of the length of the hike. And again, here we are at 6 miles. We should be less than a half a mile back away from where we parked. And we are down about 2,350 feet above sea level, which means we probably only about 150 feet down to go and a little less than half a mile from here. Certainly a lot quicker to get back this way, as we've only been going for about an hour and 15 minutes instead of the full hour and 35 it took us to get up there. And here we are coming back at 6.5 miles, back to the starting point. This is truly 6.5 miles, almost 1,800 feet of gain, and has taken us 2 hours and 58 minutes to do this. So just to give you a really good idea of the hike, there you go. Be prepared to spend 3 hours unless you're in really good shape. You might be able to do it in 2.5, and then it's probably about a half an hour or so back and forth from the airport, just to give you a reference as to how far the drive is to get up here.
Overall, this is a medium difficulty hike because of the elevation change and the distance covered, but the really awesome views make it totally worthwhile to do it. Thank you for watching and enjoy your hike.